I truly enjoyed Atelier Sophie. Everything from the story to my obsession with blondes and redheads for girls I like to fun mechanics. However, I think there's a majorly underrated facet of the Mysterious series that no one really wants to admit or just don't pick up on. The girls in the Mysterious series are egregiously overpowered. Everything from Suelle inventing the battle mix to Sophie turning a book into a doll and going on a journey to finding out how to turn the book and aka Plankta into a real-life human again. Which, by the way, if successful, can somehow invent a method to get around the limits of death. It would literally make Sophie Onee-sama, well not literally, but make Sophie Onee-sama the heroic Kawaii lolly equivalent of a Madara Uchiha who pretty much trademarked Rinne Tensei. Which is literally what Sophie has the potential to make as an alchemist. She also made a small tent that on the inside is the same exact size as a house. These girls in the Mysterious series generally are overpowered. They even make freaking Philosopher's Stones look like a joke. Like, to put it into perspective, Full Metal Alchemist spends so much time searching for Philosopher's Stones. And you know what they do? You know what they would say? They would ask the Mysterious girls, "Am I a joke to you?" Anyways, these girls in the Mysterious series are generally overpowered. In the sense of the story, this is a good tool to build a metric for their growth. Other chapters in the Atelier series oftentimes have struggled to find a benchmark for growth due to time constraints and too much focus on narratives. But here's where a weakness of the Mysterious series comes in, and it begins within Atelier Sophie. For all the crazy inventions you can make in the Mysterious series due to a lack of time constraints, in the later game, all you really have to do is make good weapons. Sadly, this is where you become dependent upon them, and I cannot think of a better marker, a better bench point where this happens than the Luard fight in Atelier Sophie. Luard is a fascinating character, but his psychology can possibly be done in a different video if you want. All I can say is that Luard did nothing wrong. Luard, like many other characters in the Mysterious series, often struggle with a lack of direction. Heck, Lydia and Sewell epitomize this, and to a point so does Sophie. Luard is the marker for the beginning of the Achilles heel of the Mysterious series. Weapons are your strategy in the late game. It therefore extends the grind, because in order to balance out the lack of time constraints, the creators have no choice but to extend the amount of grind time. For the most part, though, Atelier Sophie is the Rebirth 1 equivalent of the Atelier series in my personal opinion. Polished, easily accessible, cutesy, bubbly. However, Atelier Sophie is leagues better than Rebirth 1. Heck, so is Lydia and Sewell. In theory, the lack of time limit, which was oftentimes a calling card for the previous series within Atelier, should afford enough time to fight your battles. However, my favorite fight in Atelier Sophie, the Luard fight, is nothing compared to that old man in Atelier Aisha. That dude gave me a legendary god tier fight. In fact, even though I wasn't supposed to win and beat him the first time around, I almost did somehow, despite being new at the game at the time. Atelier Aisha's main villain is god tier. What made the opponent so distressing was the juxtaposition of this OP badass chain smoker as a boss, while you only had a certain amount of time to defeat this OP monstrosity. However, with Luard, you could probably tank him on even despair difficulty with the right armor and weapons, which, while I enjoy, is absolutely ludicrous. It gets even worse with Battle Mix and Lydia and Sewell, because you can take said previous weapons in Sophie and extend their damage output to such a degree that it would make the OP Chainsmoker feel like a tutorial boss in comparison. That's how ridiculous this entire Mysterious series is, and I have yet to play Theorist. I bought it in the mail, and will play it before my other purchase in LK, or at least back when I wrote the script. I didn't really understand why our God, Lord, and Savior of Atelier, Ichikyo-sama, liked Fierce at first. However, after hearing her heavenly voice and seeing Fierce as a character, I realized how much I also find her to be adorable. Sorry, Leonie, you've got a sadist of a competitor for Fierce's affections. Me. Not counting the great base god lord and savior, Chikyo-sama. However, let's move back to Atelier Sophie. Most of your stuff is meant for helping out Kirschen Bell. Probably pronounced that wrong. The town in which Sophie Neuenmoller lives. Sophie's so adorbs that if she wanted me to be the bride and marry into her name, I'd say yes without hesitation. That is how adorbs Sophie is. So much so that it makes me use the term adorbs. Sophie is beautiful through her altruistic nature. However, the altruism is not based on innocence or naivete, but tragedy and sincerity. Sophie's biggest parental influence is her grandmother, her Oba-chan. Sophie losing her Oba-chan, as well as what Oba-chan had always told her, that shaped Sophie as a starting character. However, her dynamics with Monica, Oscar, Fritz, Cornelia, but most importantly, Plankta, is what sets the story apart from the others in Atelier. Unlike Lydia and Sewell, Atelier Sophie's Kirschen Bell is a small but homely place. Humble yet welcoming. Sophie's main source of growth is ironically told through a mirror effect in Plankta. Seeing her own progress in bringing Plankta back to life of sorts is the entire narrative framing of the story. It is endearing to see her mess up, and endearing to see her borderline Yuri interactions with Plankta at times. They're pretty close to my OTP for Atelier. Competitors being Leonie and Fierce, don't judge me you motherfuckers, or Fierce and the most adorable woman in the Atelier series, objectively best Atelier girl Ilmeria. Fight me. However, with the other characters, Sophie's endearing. I find her interactions with Cornelia to be just so damn cathartic through the sweetness. That's kind of what a secluded environment brings to other people. Such a small place to be inevitably cooperative. What circles everything around in the story is Sophie's encounters with Luward. Since Sophie herself takes her somewhat dangerous and intangible ideologies and pays off by using her own maturity to refine her own honest, earnest, and altruistic desires in the end. Through such earnest desires, saves Luward instead of killing him. Atelier Sophie is a game I consider to be a 10 out of 10 at this point, because the soundtrack, on top of everything else, is just incredible, and my favorite Atelier track started in Sophie, Layla Zaya, I believe that's how it's pronounced. Holy hell, is that song just incredible. It has a beautiful harmony, mixed in with some absolutely crazy guitar riffs that make Dante playing with Nevin look like a joke. Certain points in the song, the guitarist just goes full ham. The pacing and everything about Lelea Zaya are so incredible that I literally want to put it on every goddamned boss monster scene imaginable. Probably to the point where my fans want me to stop playing it. I'll never stop playing this incredible song, motherfuckers. The Mysterious Atelier girls are too OP for their own good, but when it comes down to it, Sophie Onee-sama is where it all began. She released the shackles of her universe and wreaked destructive havoc without even meaning to. All because a simple girl wanted to help people. A simple desire that she herself may just be able to do, due to the unprecedented amount of influence Alchemists now wield in regards to the Mysterious series. I highly suggest you pick up Atelier Sophie, not only if you are a veteran, which you can appreciate it as a game, but also as a newbie wondering where to start. See, the problem with previous Atelier games is they're not really paced out to give new players time to conduct learning of how to properly play the Atelier series. I started with playing Aisha, probably the biggest mistake, aside from maybe Meruru or Lulua. Atelier Sophie is much easier to digest, and I believe that was the intention of creating the Mysterious series, an easy format to get into. I'd suggest starting with Sophie because Sophie's the beginning of what's clearly initiate level Atelier games. In other words, a combination of chronology meeting accessibility. Without the time constraint, newbies would have enough time to understand the lore and the mechanics. Then, they can go back and learn the time constraints in previous versions of the series, or universes of the series, whatever you want to call them. I would imagine that that was what Koei Tecmo's strategy was. Correct me if I'm wrong. Thanks for watching, guys. You guys are wonderful. Just as wonderful as Fierce this a while. Make sure to like, subscribe, and click the bell. Just remember, ladies and gentlemen, to put in a quarter to try again.
しかし、ソフィーは違います。私やあなたも含め、錬金術は願いの力です。知っていたはずですよ。万人の幸せを願うソフィーの錬金術に、利己的なあなたの錬金術が勝るはずがなかったのですよ。なんだ、普通の錬金術師に敗れて。無駄なんかじゃないはずだよ。え？全部無駄なんかじゃなかったはずだよ。けどプラフタと一緒に昔プラフタと一緒に目指した夢までソフィー、これはプラフタとルアードが最初に作った道具。行こう、あとみな。行こう。あの二人、はい、きっとソフィーの言葉。じゃあ私たちのアトリエに。